First inning, Jack Armstrong starts out the game in fine fashion as he strikes out the side. Here getting Jeff Bagwell to end the top half of the first inning. Moving on now to the bottom of the fourth inning. The Houston Astros will get all of their runs in this inning. First, Luis Gonzalez with a double to left center field. Bagwell will score, and the Astros go on top 1-0. Then on the very next pitch to Ken Caminetti, he would hit a two-run home run off the foul pole screen in right field. Home run number 8 for Caminetti, as Luis Gonzalez also scores, and the Astros extend their lead to 3-0. That would be all the scoring in this game, as pitcher Jimmy Jones would pitch a complete game shutout, his first in 4 years, as he would go 9 innings, allowing no runs on just 3 hits while striking out 6 batters. Here in the top of the 9th inning, he strikes out Paul O'Neill to end the ball game, as Jimmy Jones ups his record to 5-5, while Armstrong takes a loss. His record drops to 6-7.
Injured Houston Astros pitcher Mike Scott said today he probably will not return to the mound this season and may never pitch again. Scott was examined by team physician Dr. Bill Bryan and told a pregame press conference at the Astrodome that he likely will not consider surgery to repair tendonitis in his right rotator cuff. The 36-year-old Scott has not pitched since early April and is 0-2 with a 12.86 ERA. Last year, he was 9-13 with a 3.81 ERA in 32 games. Scott's victory total and 121 strikeouts last year were his fewest since 1984. His contract with Houston expires at the end of the season, and Scott would not speculate on his long-term future. A 3-time All-Star, he won the 1986 National League Cy Young Award after going 18-10. Scott highlighted that season with a September 25th no-hitter that clinched the NL West Championship for Houston.
A hot and humid Saturday night in St. Louis as the Cardinals host the Cubs. Chicago loaded the bases in the top of the second after an intentional walk to Doug DeCenzo. And then Brent Smith walks the pitcher, and that forces home Andre Dawson with the first run of the game, 1-0 Chicago. Joe Torre not too pleased with the walk by Brent Smith of Mike Bilecki. Then Pedro Guerrero can't handle Chico Walker's hard ground ball. Goes into right field. George Bell and Doug DeCenzo score, and the Cubs lead 3-0 after 2. Top of the fourth inning now, Shawan Dunston at the plate for Chicago. Brent Smith comes in high and tight. Dunston ducks away. He doesn't like Brent Smith pitching up there. He lets Tom Pagnozzi know he doesn't like it. Eric Gregg steps in between them, puts his wide girth between Dunston and Pagnozzi. The benches started to empty out, but peace was quickly restored, and nothing else came of this incident. Bottom of the fourth inning, Mike Bilecki, pitching for Chicago, pitching brilliantly, strikes out Felix Jose in the fourth. He had a no-hitter through 6 innings of play. 4-0 Chicago now. Bottom of the seventh inning, Pedro Guerrero up with a man on. Get on base by a walk. And Guerrero breaks up the no-hitter with a 2-run shot to left center field. His 7th home run of the year. He picks up Ozzie Smith, RBI 50 and 51. And the Cubs lead is 4-2 as Mike Bilecki and his fiancée react to Guerrero's home run. But the Cubs come right back and answer it in the next half frame. At the top of the 8th inning, Andre Dawson with Ryan Sandberg off of first base connects for a 2-run homer off of Juan Augusto to left center field. His 14th home run of the year, RBI 48 and 49. That made it 6-2 Chicago, 7-2 after 8. They'd score 5 more times in the top of the 9th. Jerome Walton with a 2-run double to left field. Sandberg and Dawson in, 11-2 Chicago. They win 12-2. Bilecki's 9-6. Smith drops to 7-5.
Valentine's Rangers in a second-place tie with California as they play on Saturday night in Arlington. And in the bottom of the first, Rafael Palmeiro hits this solo home run, his 13th of the year. It comes off Angels starter Jim Abbott. This on the day that Palmeiro had been named to the American League All-Star team, replacing the injured Mark McGwire. It's Palmeiro's 6th home run in his last 8 games. In the top of the second, though, Lance Parrish gets that back. as he hits this solo home run, his 10th of the year. And this coming off Texas starter Kevin Brown. And it ties the score at 1 apiece. And then in the top of the third, the Angels take the lead. Dave Winfield, who is snubbed for the All-Star game, would hit his 18th home run. So great season for Winfield so far. This is solo blast coming off Brown, and it would break an 0 for 14 slump for Winfield. California takes a 2-1 lead. But Valentine doesn't seem fazed by it as he places some seeds on the head of pitcher Jose Guzman. Now in the bottom of the sixth, the score 3-1 Angels, but Jim Abbott can't field this Mike Stanley bunt. Actually, he fields it well. It's his throwing that hurt him, as the error would enable Juan Gonzalez to score to make it 3-2. Then Ivan Rodriguez with this double to score Steve Buechele and Stanley, as that would be the game winner. Texas wins by the final of 4-3. Kevin Brown gets the win. He's 7-6. Jim Abbott, the loser, falls to 7-6, and Jeff Russell would notch his 17th save as the Rangers win for the 9th time in their last 12 games.
Morris and Scott Erickson and the Twins took on the White Sox. Bottom of the fourth inning, Frank Thomas will get the first hit of the game for Chicago. A solo dinger to right center field. His 14th home run of the year as it goes deep into the seats. The Chicago White Sox lead 1-0. Bottom of the fifth, Robin Ventura, a 3-run homer to right field off of Paul Abbott. Craig Graybeck and Tim Raines were aboard on walks. That was Chicago's second hit of the game, and it gave Chicago a 4-0 lead. This guy out in the stands tries to impress female fans in the background there with his scrapbook. 2 outs, 2 on, top of the seventh for Brian Harper. And Harper will hit a 3-run homer just over Tim Raines' leaping try at the left field wall. For Brian Harper, is his 4th home run of the year. He picks up Randy Bush and Chili Davis in his 4-3 Chicago. Man on, 2 outs, top of the 8th inning. Kent Herbeck will hit a 2-run homer to left center field. He picks up Kirby Puckett. Home run number 8 for Herbeck, and that gave Minnesota a 5-4 lead over the White Sox. Bottom of the 9th inning, man on second for Chicago, 2 outs, but Rick Aguilera gets Scott Fletcher to fly out to end the game. The Twins win 5-4. Carl Willis, the winner. Scott Radinsky, the loser. Rick Aguilera, his 22nd save.
Park in Kansas City, Missouri on Saturday night as the Oakland A's are in town. Pick up action here in the bottom of the second inning. Danny Tartabull with a solo shot. This one going out in left field. Home run number 17 for Tartabull. RBI number 55, and the Royals are on top 1-0. Still in the second inning, Kurt Stillwell comes up and he hits a single into right center field. Kevin Seitzer will race around and score. RBI number 31 for Stillwell, and the Royals lead is at 2-0. Then to complete the bottom of the second inning, David Howard will come up and he will hit a single into right field. RBI number 2 for Howard as Mike McFarland scores, and the Royals are on top by a score of 3-0. But the A's will battle back in this ball game, moving now to the top of the fourth inning with the Royals up 3-1. Harold Baines will come up and crush this Mike Boddicker fastball as he puts it over the wall in right center field. Home run number 12 for Baines, RBIs number 55 and 56 as Jose Canseco also scores, and the game is tied up at 3 apiece. Then still in the top of the fourth inning, Mike Gallego comes up and he hits a single into short right field. Mark McGuire will score, and the A's are on top by a score of 4-3. Then a perfect squeeze bunt as Mike Bordick comes up and he lays one down the first base line. No one covers first base. Terry Steinbach scores, and the A's lead is at 5-3. The big blow in the inning will come later on with the bases loaded. Jose Canseco steps up and nearly puts one out of the ballpark, but he does get a double off the left field wall as Riles, Gallego, and Bordick all score. RBIs number 61, 62, and 63. And the A's lead is at 8-3. Moving now to the bottom of the sixth inning with the A's up 9-3. Danny Tartabull hits his second home run of the game, number 18 for the season, and the A's lead is cut to 9-4. Then the bottom of the eighth inning with the A's up 9-5. Danny Tartabull hits his third home run of the game, number 19 for the season. RBIs number 57 and 58 as Brett also scores, and that cut the A's lead to 9-7. But that's the way this one finishes up. Bob Walsh with the win, his record 8-5. Boddicker with the loss, his record drops to 7-7. Eckersley his 23rd save. In Philadelphia as New York Mets pitcher Doc Gooden getting interviewed and then gets the old pie in the face from one of his teammates as former New York Met Roger McDowell gets a good chuckle out of that one as he's trying to pick a winner for tonight's game. Here in the top of the fourth inning with the game scoreless, Hubie Brooks will give the Mets the lead when he comes up and hits a solo home run into the upper deck in left field. A deep shot off Bruce Ruffin. Home run number 14 for Brooks, RBI number 42, and the Mets are on top by a score of 1-0. Moving on now to the bottom of the seventh inning, Frank Viola on the mound tonight for the Mets, and he would pitch a fine ball game. Here he will get Ricky Jordan to strike out for out number 1 in the bottom of the seventh inning. Viola would work 8 2/3, allowing 1 run on 5 hits while striking out 3 batters. Later on, in between innings, the Philly Fanatic and the 76ers' Charles Barkley would go at it, as the Fanatic would be holding Charles Barkley's date hostage. So Charles Barkley goes and comes to the rescue as the Fanatic goes down for the count. Moving now to the top of the 8th inning with the bases loaded, Mitch Williams on the mound for the Phillies, and he will walk Tommy Herr on a 3-2 pitch as Howard Johnson comes in with the second New York run, and the Mets lead it 2-0. Moving now to the bottom of the 9th inning, Jim Lindemann will come in and hit a single into center field. Dale Murphy scores, this coming off John Franco, and the Mets lead is cut to 2-1. But Franco will strike out Ron Jones to end the ball game as the Mets win this one 2-1. Viola with the win, his record 10-5. Ruffin with the loss, his record drops to 1-2. Franco is 19th save.
His managerial debut on Saturday night as he talks with Indian Alex Cole. Cleveland at home against Milwaukee as Hargrove replaced John McNamara, who was fired earlier in the day. Greg Swindell on the mound for the Indians would strike out 10 Brewers in 7 innings of work. He allowed just 2 hits and no walks in that span. Here he strikes out Franklin Stubbs in the top of the 2nd. This game is scoreless until the bottom of the 6th when Carlos Baerga would single. This would score Chris James, and the Indians take a 1-0 lead against Brewers starter Jamie Navarro. Then Cleveland would add to the lead still in the bottom of the 6th. This time it's Mark Whitten who delivered this single to left field, and this would drive in Baerga, and the Indians put 2 runs on the board in the bottom of the 6th. Following a wild pitch, the Indians would have runners on 2nd and 3rd with 1 out as Hargrove goes over the play with Albert Bell. You'll recall last month Bell was sent down to the minor leagues after not running out a double play ball. Well, here he hits into this fielder's choice, and despite the fact that Reggie Jefferson gets in a lengthy rundown between 3rd and home, Bell does not make it to second base from 1st, and this would prompt Hargrove to pull him and insert Glenn Allen Hill in left field to start the 8th inning. So Albert Bell pulled from the game for the 2nd time in a month. Sean Hilligus would get his 5th save as he gets Candy Maldonado to fly out with runners on 1st and 3rd to end it. Hargrove wins his managerial debut by the final of 2-0. Swindell the winner. Navarro is the loser.
Southern California, as this young lady takes in a Dodger Atlanta Brave game, and we pick up action here in the bottom of the 1st inning with the bases loaded. Lenny Harris will come up and hit a single into right field. It'll get past the sliding Otis Nixon. Brett Butler and Darryl Strawberry both score, and the Dodgers take a 2-0 lead. The Dodgers will add to that lead in the bottom of the 2nd inning, here with LA up 2-1. Darryl Strawberry comes up, and the big right fielder will hit a triple into the corner in right field. Oral Hershiser and Brett Butler both score, RBIs number 28 and 29, and the Dodgers go on top by a score of 4-1. Very next batter would be Eddie Murray, and Eddie Murray will come up on the very next pitch and bloop a single into center field. Darryl Strawberry will score, RBI number 51 for Murray, and the Dodgers extend their lead to 5-1. Moving now to the bottom of the 5th inning, Brett Butler will come up, and Butler will hit a single back up the middle. This will drive in 2 runs as Lenny Harris and Alfredo Griffin both score, RBIs number 18 and 19 for Butler, as he extends his hitting streak to 20 games, and the Dodgers take a 7-1 lead. The Braves get one back in the top of the 6th inning when Brian Hunter comes up. He hits a single into left field. Ron Gant scores, RBI number 13 for Hunter, and LA's lead is trimmed to 7-2. Then a funny play in the top of the 7th inning. Oral Hershiser will hit Lonnie Smith, but Smith traps the ball between his arm and his body, and as he jogs to first, he flips the ball back to Hershiser. Later on in the 7th inning, Ron Gant comes up with the bases loaded and doubles down the left field line, Nixon, Smith, and Pendleton all score. RBIs 42, 43, and 44 for Gant. The LA lead is trimmed to 7-5. Then with 2 outs in the 7th inning, Mark Lemke comes up and he hits a ground ball to Juan Samuel. Samuel will make a nice stop but then throw a wild to first base. Ron Gant scores and the LA lead is trimmed to 7-6. But that's all the Braves would get as the Dodgers win it by that score. Hershiser with the win, his record 3-2. Smoltz with the loss, his record drops to 2-11. Gross his 3rd save.
Orlando Merced and Curtis Wilkerson learn how to use the camera during a 44-minute rain delay. But when game resumed in the top of the 3rd inning, Andy Van Slyke will rob Spike Owen of a base hit with a running shoestring grab through the puddles. A nice play by Van Slyke. Top of the 4th inning, Yvonne Calderon would hit a sacrifice fly, and then Tim Wallet follows that up with his own sacrifice fly to left field. Delino DeShields tags at 3rd and scores, and the Expos lead 2-0. Move now to the bottom of the 5th inning. Jose leaned with a fly ball to right field. Dave Gallagher back on it, but he'll drop the ball, crash into the wall. Gary Varsho scored for the Cubs, and the Expos lead is cut to 2-1. We'll take another look at the misplay in right field by Dave Martinez. Bottom of the 7th inning now, Mark Gardner pitching a fine game for the Expos. Strikes out Bobby Bonilla, and all Bonilla can do is take off his hat to the Expos pitcher. Bottom of the 9th inning, man on, nobody out. Gardner goes over to first base. Harry Wendelstedt calls a balk on Gardner, sends Reedus over to second base. But Tom Reynolds will come out to argue, and Wendelstedt defers to Randy Marsh. Marsh overrules Wendelstedt, and out comes Jim Leland to argue with Marsh and Wendelstedt about the call. Still in the bottom of the 9th inning now, the bases would be full of Pirates with 2 outs. But Tim Burke gets Lloyd McClendon to ground out to end the game. The Expos win 2-1. Gardner the winner, he's 4-5. Bob Walk the loser, he's 6-1. And Tim Burke picked up his 5th save. Andy, too often on Saturday afternoon at Candlestick Park, the Giants and the San Diego Padres. Top of the 4th inning, Don Robinson strikes out Fred McGriff, one of 7 strikeouts in his 8 1/3 innings. Up to this point, he has allowed no hits by the Padres. But in the top half of the 5th inning, Benito Santiago will end that run for Robinson as he crushes a solo homer to left field. The first hit of the game by either club. Homer number 10 for Santiago, RBI 39, and it's 1-0 Padres. Bottom of the 5th inning, Robbie Thompson will get that run back as he'll hit a solo shot to left field off of starter Andy Bennis, almost to the same spot as Santiago. Number 10 for Robinson, RBI 23, and we're tied at 1. 2 outs now, man on second base in the bottom of the 7th inning. Thompson hits a fly ball to left field. Gerald Clark runs in, tries to make the shoestring catch. Will Clark came in to score from second base as the umpire ruled that it wasn't a catch, it was trapped. And umpire Jerry Lane gets an earful from Padres manager Greg Riddick as we take another look at the play. It's pretty close, tough to call, but it was ruled a trap 3-1 after 7 innings. Bottom of the 8th inning, Will Clark closed out the scoring as he hits a solo homer to right field, his 4th of the year, RBI 58. The Padres lose to the Giants 4-1. Robinson the win, he's 4-6. Bennis the loss, he's 4-9. Dave Righetti came in to pick up his 11th save. Park, it's the Tigers and the Red Sox. Detroit did show their power in the top of the 2nd inning, trailing 2-0. Pete Incaviglia, 1 for 12 against Roger Clemens with 11 strikeouts in his career. Blast a 2-run homer to left field off of Clemens over everything. His 6th home run of the year picks up Dave Bergman, RBI 21 and 22, and it's tied at 2. Next batter up would be Rob Deere, a solo homer into the screen and left. Back-to-back home runs for the Tigers off of Roger Clemens. Deere's 16th home run, and it's 3-2 Detroit. And Roger Clemens would face John Shelby, the next Tiger batter up. And Clemens would plunk Shelby in the back. Shelby doesn't take a liking to that and races out to the mound with a bat in hand, but John Marzano collars Shelby from behind. The bench is clear. Some late holiday fireworks at Fenway Park on this holiday weekend. Mo Vaughn and Carlos Quintana contain Cecil Fielder, while Clemens asked Shelby what he'd want to hit him for. Taking another look at the tackle by John Marzano, who could be used on the Patriots. And Mo Vaughn comes in from the side and gets Tony Phillips. Shelby nails Clemens in the face. Shelby would be tossed from the game. Clemens remained in the game through a wild pitch that scored Milt Kyler 4-2 Detroit after an inning and a half. Bottom of the fifth, Rob Deere robs Mo Vaughn of a 2-run homer in the fifth, much to Vaughn's chagrin. But Vaughn and the Sox will get back at the Tigers in the seventh. They score 4 runs, and with the score 4-3, Mo Vaughn gets a base hit to center field off of Paul Gibson. Wade Boggs comes in to score RBI 11 for Vaughn. And the score is tied at 4. And then Mike Greenwell will get a base hit to right center field. Jody Reed came in to score for Boston. RBI 46 for Greenwell, 5-4 Red Sox. They add one more to make it 6-4. Tigers have 2 on and 2 outs in the 8th, but Clemens strikes out Deere to end the inning. Sox win 7-4. Jeff Reardon pitched a scoreless 9th for his 21st save. Clemens wins, and he's now 11-5.
Big fan of the Baltimore Orioles on hand on Saturday afternoon as the Orioles are at Yankee Stadium to take on New York in the bottom of the first after Don Mattingly gives the Yankees a 1-0 lead on a sac fly. This is Mel Hall, who hits a 2-run home run, his 13th of the year. It comes off Baltimore starter Ben McDonald, and the Yankees take a 2-0 lead. Nice crowd at Yankee Stadium of nearly 30,000, but the Yankee fans wouldn't enjoy what they'd see in the top of the fourth. Chito Martinez, the Baltimore rookie, with his first Major League RBI. Here as he drives his single off Scott Sanderson. It scores Cal Ripken Jr. and Baltimore pulls to within 3-1. Then with 2 outs in the top of the fourth, Bob Melvin, the 2-run single. This would score Sam Horn and Randy Milligan. And the Orioles tie up the Yankees at 3 apiece. Then a crucial play, or at least up to this point in the game, taking place in the top of the fifth with 2 men out. Scott Sanderson apparently strikes out Sam Horn. But third base umpire Rocky Rose says that Horn doesn't swing as we look again and see him almost pull the trigger. Close call, but 3 pitches later, Sanderson, the Yankees' 9-game winner, would surrender a 2-run home run to Horn. That's his second in as many days and his 14th on the season. And Baltimore takes a 5-3 lead in the top of the fifth over Sanderson and the Yankees. In the top of the sixth inning, the Yankees would get some good defense from Hall, their left fielder, as he takes away a base hit from Juan Bell. This beautiful diving grab. And then in the bottom of the sixth, the Yankees offense would catch fire for 3 runs. First, Matt Noakes with a 2-run home run, his 12th of the year. And this would tie the score at 5 apiece against McDonald and the Orioles. And then later on in the bottom of the sixth, the Yankees would flex their muscles as Noakes' teammate Steve Sachs with the RBI single. This would score Alvaro Espinoza, and the Yankees take a 6-5 lead. Sachs would go 4 for 5 in this game. And then in the bottom of the 8th, with the score now 10-5 Yankees, it would be Noakes once again, this time a 3-run home run, his 13th of the year, as he would drive in 6 runs in the game. The Yankees go on to win for the 7th time in their last 8 games with 6 runs in the 8th for insurance. They win it by the final of 13-5. Steve's still on the disabled list with a shoulder injury, loosens up prior to Saturday's game in Seattle, although Steve still reported discomfort in the shoulder. Pat Tabler bats in the top of the third with the bases loaded and the Jays trailing 1-0. Tabler for his career is .500 with 100 RBIs and 82 at-bats, but here he gets a break. Harold Reynolds, 2 errors on the play as he can't handle the grounder and then muffs the throw. So on the play, both Rene Gonzalez and Devon White score, and Toronto takes a 2-1 lead. But in the bottom of the fourth, Gonzalez repays the favor as he commits the error on this Reynolds ground ball. So what goes around comes around for the Mariners. Dave Valley comes in to score to tie the game at 2 apiece. Not much chance of one getting any rays in the night, especially indoors at the Kingdome. And in the bottom of the sixth, with Jim Acker now in for the Blue Jays, replacing David Wells, Edgar Martinez hits the fly ball to right field. Joe Carter, not the most prolific outfielder, as here he makes the catch, but he loses the handle on the ball. Alonzo Powell comes in to score on the sac fly. Seattle takes a 3-2 lead. One more look at the catch by Joe Powell and the aborted throw. Now move to action in the top of the ninth with 2 men out. Rance Mullenix would single, and then it's Devon White up, and the count would run full on White, and he would triple off the right field wall. This off reliever Mike Jackson, So with 2 men out, the Jays would tie the score on the Devon White triple to score Rance Mullenix, and this game is tied at 3 apiece. And then on the top of the 10th, with 1 man out, John Olerud, who played his college ball at nearby Washington State, hits a solo home run, his 9th of the year. This off reliever Russ Swan, and a large throng of Blue Jay fans on hand to cheer their team on, and the Jays take a 4-3 lead in the top of the 10th. Davis, the last out of the game, he's struck out by Tom Henke, who's now 16 saves and 16 appearances. The Jays win this one by the final of 4-3 in 10 innings. As Toronto, with a big come-from-behind victory with 2 outs in the 9th inning, they get the big triple from Devon White. And John Olerud, the Seattle native, with a home run in the 10th inning to win it for the Jays.